This 11-story hotel is unlike anything Melbourne has ever seen. With an amazing rooftop bar and gathering space, incredible conference facilities, and of course, amazing guest rooms and suites like this one. So if you have friends and family coming to town for a visit, or want to go out and enjoy downtown Melbourne's great restaurants, bars, and shopping for a night or two, Hotel Melby is the place to be. Hi, and welcome back to the 411 on the 321. Tales, tenets, and tips from Space Coast business leaders, brought to you by the Melbourne Regional Chamber. I'm your host, Mel Thomas, and I am so excited to join you this morning from the beautiful Hotel Melby, downtown Melbourne. So I'd like to welcome a very special guest today. This is Tracy Frampton. She is the executive director of the Florida Wildlife Hospital. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So we're going to be right back with Tracy after a few words from our champion sponsor, Hedrick Brothers Construction. Since 1979, Hedrick Brothers Construction has been delivering quality construction for the commercial and luxury residential markets of South Florida. In 2020, Hedrick Brothers expanded into the Space Coast region and opened an office here in Melbourne. 3 years later, the team has grown to over a dozen professionals, working on large, local projects and investing in our community. The sky is not the limit for the Hedrick Brothers team. Check them out. You'll be glad you did. Welcome back and welcome, Tracy. Thank you so much. I know you're so busy with all your good work, so I'm really excited to talk to you this morning.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I just want to jump right into it. For anyone unfamiliar, what is your organization? How did you get started? And what do you do here in Brevard?
We are a wildlife rehabilitation facility, meaning if you find a wild animal that seems abandoned, orphaned, injured, sick, and you feel that it's safe to do it, you can bring the animal to us. We are only permitted to rehab and release Florida native wildlife and migratory birds. And a lot of people don't know that there are some non-natives living here, but we can help coach them. We have a way for people to send a photo so we can determine if it's something they can bring in, or they can bring it in and we can let them know what the story is. But we rehab and release birds, mammals, and reptiles that are naturally found in Florida.
That's incredible. So, and where are you located?
We are on US 1, about 2 miles south of Pineda Causeway.
Okay, I know exactly where you are. Passed the sign this morning. So, as executive director, I'm just curious about your background and what led you to the Florida Wildlife Hospital.
Most of my career has been spent in zoos. I was a zookeeper for 17 years, working with birds, mammals, and reptiles. I worked at 4 different zoos. I also did animal registrar work, doing the records for animal keeping. I moved into conservation. I worked at Brevard Zoo in the conservation department, and I had volunteers that would do butterfly surveys with me.
Oh, wow.
One of those volunteers was also involved at the Florida Wildlife Hospital, and I was kind of looking for a change. I'd been in the business for quite a while, and she told me about the opening, and the rest is history.
Excellent. Well, they're lucky to have you. So, wildlife education. So that's an important component of the programs that you offer. Can you speak on that?
Sure. Yeah. Very, very important. We can come and do programs for school groups, senior facilities, scout groups, and we really feel like a lot of our patients wouldn't need to come in if people knew more before an incident happened. So we really feel that's an important part of what we do. So we have many different programs we can do. There is a fee for those because we also bring animals. We have ambassador animals that are non-releasable wild animals.
Yes. Quinn. Is Quinn one?
Quinn is one.
Okay,
yes,
I've met Quinn. Yes.
So they come, and their care, it costs money to take care of them. So we do charge for those programs. Okay. And all that information is on our website. FloridaWildlifeHospital.org.
Okay, we're putting that up right now.
And they can, there's a tag at the top that's about outreach and programs.
Okay.
And so there's all sorts of different things that we
Great.
can come and teach you about and hopefully help more people live cooperatively with our local wildlife.
Right, exactly. And I like the preventative aspect of the education too, that maybe with just a little bit of education, we can kind of educate ourselves and prevent some of these things
Yes.
from happening. Very good. So you just celebrated a big milestone.
Yes.
50 years you've been around.
50 years is amazing.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I know you haven't been there for 50 years. You're
No,
not
I
old
have
enough
not.
to have been there for 50 years. But I wonder if you could tell us, how was the last 50 years? How was the evolution of the organization? What have you seen? How's it going?
Sure. So actually back in the late 60s, Carlton and Gladys Teat noticed a need in the community and started working with some injured local wildlife. The business actually was founded in 1973, but they've been tinkering already before that in their home on Otter Creek. And so it was a mom and pop
Literally, yeah.
business. The animal food would be from volunteers bringing in food from their own homes. I mean, it was very grassroots. And it's amazing that we're still around, that it's grown and developed. We did close for a year or two, and then somebody bought the property that we're on now and donated it to us. We were in the house in front for quite a long time. We have some amazing pictures of pelicans in the bathtub and things like that. And then when they widened US 1, they took some of our property to do that. So we got some reimbursement for that. And that was sort of the seed money to get started to build the 4,000 square foot building that we now work out of and have pretty much outgrown at this point, which is amazing.
Okay.
So yes, it's been quite a transition. And yes, I've only been there for 8 years, so I only have a small part of that 50 years, but it's been a lot of hard work from a lot of people to keep it going.
So many good people here in Brevard. Like I just love hearing all the stories of people donating their land or their time or going into the pet store and bringing you food or whatever that looks like.
Exactly.
So, congratulations and bravo on the
you.
expansion. So how many employees are you up to now?
We have 15 employees.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And about 80 volunteers.
Oh,
we
my gosh.
could not do what we do without our volunteers.
Okay.
And
well, let's talk about them.
Sure.
Yeah.
The volunteers can do anything from, we have volunteers that mow our grass. Some of them help with data entry. Some of them help at the front desk. There's a lot of laundry and dishes involved with animal care. So a lot of them, that's all they do is come in and do laundry and dishes. And it is such a huge help. But then as they move along, they can do patient care as well. We have volunteers in the nursery. Our baby songbirds, when they come in really young, are fed every 15 minutes.
I feel like I knew that,
We can have about 50 to 100 of them in there. So it gets a little crazy. So you get dizzy going around the room. So we do need a lot of volunteers to help with that.
Wow. Is that a loud room? Bunch of little baby songbirds? Okay.
Oh, yes. Very loud.
Fun. So nonprofit is tough. I think nonprofit, animal welfare, children welfare, it takes a special person. I wonder, can you tell us, how do you keep going?
Every time I see an animal get released, it's like we are doing good things. So that really keeps me going. It is definitely a challenge. We cannot charge for our services. It's actually not legal. So when you bring us a patient, there is no charge. We do always talk about donations are appreciated. Pay it forward for the next patient, things like that. And not everyone can, and I understand that. But it is always the sort of hamster wheel of fundraising.
Sure.
But going back to the animals being released is always the thing that keeps me going.
So on that note, has there been like an unusual case or animal that maybe a story you can share with us?
Sure. This year, one of our volunteers spends a lot of time in her kayak. And she was noticing a big soft shell turtle.
Okay.
that had a huge growth on its neck, so much that it couldn't hold its head straight. Had been seeing it for weeks. Now, keep in mind, soft-shell turtles bite almost as bad as snapping turtles.
Okay.
They're dangerous. So she had been seeing it, and she knew her neighbors knew she was keeping an eye out for it. Well, one day it was up on land, and the neighbor called her and said, "It's out, it's out." And she grabbed it and brought it in. It was actually an abscess.
Okay.
We have a great partnership with Brevard Zoo and their vet staff. So we took it there. They removed the abscess, stitched it up, and then it was on antibiotics and a lot of R&R for a while. And then she got to release it again back where it came from. It healed up and did great. And it was pretty impressive how big this thing was.
Oh my gosh.
So who knows what happened? Did it have a fish hook in there at some point or something? But it was healed back up and got to be released again.
Did she ever see it in her kayak after
It's probably hard to tell now that it doesn't
It doesn't float on the top. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully he's down in the bottom having his best turtle life.
Yes.
Congratulations. So, like, using that example, if someone is to find an injured wild animal, what do they do?
Good question. We have some really good information on our website. Right at the top of the page, it says found an animal. And there's some really good instructions in there. A lot of times, especially this time of year, people see fledgling birds on the ground and think they have a broken wing and they can't fly and they need to come in. So there's a really good decision tree on if this, then this. If there's ever ants, blood, something like that, absolutely. If they feel comfortable, they should bring it in to us. If it's not, then they can still call, send a picture. We have a way that people can text a picture. And we can say, oh, no, that looks like a fledgling. He's fine. Or no, that's a nestling. You know, he does not fully feathered yet. Maybe some bare skin. He needs to come in or get back in a nest. We do re-nest very often with baby songbirds and baby squirrels. It's a myth that if you touch them, mom isn't going to take them back.
Old wives' tale, right?
Yeah. So we oftentimes recommend if you've got a little Easter basket or something, don't use the paper or the plastic grass, but you can put it right back in a bush and the parents will still come and feed the baby birds. And if it's a squirrel, you can put it there and mom will come and retrieve the babies and take them back to the nest. So we do that a lot. Not just because we don't want to do the work of raising them, but the parents do. They're professionals.
Yeah.
We're the amateurs.
Leave it to the mothers.
Yes. They can teach them many more things than we can. So if that is an option, we always try and get them back to their family.
Okay, great. Well, I'm sure you have many, but what's a favorite part of your job?
Releasing.
Right.
Definitely releasing. In my career, I've worked with animals a lot. I don't work with animals anymore.
Okay.
I am the executive director and I need to keep everyone paid and the lights on.
Yeah.
So I don't do that much anymore. But either getting to release things or seeing the release videos always does my heart good. So that's really what I like the most, is knowing that we are getting animals back into the wild where they are doing their job out there.
Right.
So yes.
Right. And working with the community, with the education aspects and the volunteerism, it's cyclical.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
So 50 years under your belt, success, growth, job opportunities. What's next for the next 50 years?
Well, hopefully we are going to be even stronger than ever. We do have a master plan. We've got some ideas. As I said, we're kind of outgrowing the 4,000 square foot building. One of the things with wildlife rehabilitation is people add stress to their life because basically they've gone through an alien abduction and now they're hearing people all the time. And, you know, I have to talk on the phone. We have meetings and we make noise.
Sure.
I would really like to move the people aspect out of the building and into a separate building. That's down the road because that's going to take a lot of support to do that. But that's one of our big goals is all the offices that are in the building could become patient spaces,
Okay.
and we have a separate building where the offices could be.
That's a great plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we also, if you've ever been to our facility, you might notice our parking is really sad.
It's a challenge.
Do not have
Yeah.
much parking.
You seem to have a good relationship with, is it a church next
Yes,
door? Okay.
they've been
Yes.
wonderful. So we do park at the church.
Mhm.
With so many staff and volunteers, we need parking, and we need to save parking for people bringing in patients. One of my other plans is, one of the original buildings on the property is a very old 3-bay garage that's getting even older. I would like to move that to another part of the property, make it bigger, and make that all into parking, so we could expand our parking as well.
Okay. Excellent.
So
Lots
we got
of
some
plans.
ideas.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I like a gal with ideas that loves animals. So speaking of the people part, the parking, the moving people into a different, are you currently hiring?
We do have a position open. We are looking for a new vet tech.
Okay.
That is an extra challenge because a lot of vet techs do have experience with dogs and cats.
Sure.
This is a little different.
Mhm.
And it's a little hard to compete with private practice salaries. But we've really expanded our medical team this year. We're so excited. We've added a vet
Lovely.
on our staff for the first time.
Wow.
She's part-time, but
Mhm.
and we have 2 full-time vet techs now, and one of them had some life changes and is hopefully going to be moving on. She's really excited in the next month, and we need to fill her position.
Okay.
So we are hiring for that.
And if someone's watching and they're qualified or they know someone, how do they apply?
We have an ad on Indeed.
Okay.
So that's one place, or they can call the hospital and I can give them more details.
Okay.
For sure. And we are always looking for new volunteers.
Mhm.
We do have an internship program as well.
Okay.
And we have all those positions are filled right now. But if someone wants, probably starting at the end of the summer, if they're able to do an internship and they're still in school, or if they just graduated and are looking for some experience, all that information is on our website as well.
So it sounds like everything's on the website. If you're looking to volunteer, pledge a monetary donation.
Yes.
Looking for job opportunities, you want to learn more about the organization, about you, about your staff and your team.
Absolutely.
Can you give us the website one more time?
Yes, it is floridawildlifehospital.org.
Perfect. I just want to thank you so much, Tracy, for coming on today. This is the time in our program where we ask all of our guests, if you could just share a tenet, a tip, a little pearl of wisdom maybe that was imparted on you in your personal or your professional life that you kind of live by and you feel like it would resonate.
One of the things that I say all the time is I quote Dory from Finding Nemo. Just keep swimming.
Oh.
Even when things seem like I'm never going to get through this pile or I'm never going to get this grant or whatever, just keep swimming.
I love it. So appropriate. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks for everything you're doing for the wild creatures here in Brevard. There are quite a few. And for the people of Brevard to keep us informed as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks again for joining us. I've been your host, Mel Thomas. If you'd like to learn more about the Florida Wildlife Hospital or any of the other chamber partners, you can go visit the chamber's website, melbourneregionalchamber.com. I'd like to thank the Hotel Melby for putting us up in this beautiful suite this morning. To Anthony with Tightline Productions for producing the 411 on the 321. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.